It is Wednesday. It is May 14th, 2025. Manic and Chill is back. After a week off, Shane and I have been busy doing rookie drafts, as are many of you, maybe still finishing them up. But tonight's episode is going to be a fun one. If you've not already checked out the content, like and subscribe. Check out the website, ddfantasyfootball.com. We are potentially going to highlight roster reviews. We have been doing a ton of roster reviews. I'll throw that up here in a second. But Shane, we're here to talk about rookie draft season. It's coming to an end. I think 80% of my drafts or so have done. Maybe more of yours are done at this point. But we're going to talk about some rostership, some exposures, some regrets, take some rookie draft questions. This is going to be kind of a chill session as we transition out of rookie draft season and into roster building, startup / let's get ready for the season over the summer. So how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Yeah, just to that point, looking up, I have two ongoing rookie drafts that are in the later stages, 4th round. One's a 5-round. There was a 14 by 11 5-round rookie draft. It is brutal. The players that are going to be drafted and what's going to be left on the waivers. I have officially, if we're doing math wise, I have 3.5% of my league still have rookie drafts left, which is 1 out of 28. It's pretty depressing. I sent out a tweet last week though. But I think it was Friday. And at that point, 30% of people had at least half their leagues still had rookie drafts to do. But by now it's probably even well below that.
Yeah, it's funny how you had the exact math and percentage there. Like you almost rehearsed to say that, the 1 out of 28.
No,
it's interesting.
I just hit the calculator. I was wondering. I always wonder by percentages what something looks like because, raw numbers never tell the whole story.
Did you feel, I want to start with this, then we'll get into some of our exposures, take some questions. If anybody has any rookie draft questions, even non-rookie draft questions, why not? Maybe we'll do some trades. Hint, hint. Might be some trade show content coming from us very, very soon. But did you notice this year that the rookie drafts were a lot more fun? Like maybe the first 48 hours after the NFL draft, where it was like nobody really knew what to do. And then if you just had one like this past weekend, it kind of felt like just mundane. Like everything was already settled in. Did you notice that this year? That those first like 48 to 72 hours, it was okay. Everyone kind of knew where to take some of the first round players. But it felt like everybody else's were still settling in, and that's where the biggest edge was. Did you feel that?
I don't know, man. Like everything felt pretty rote, to be honest with you. Like 1 through 12, there's some variation in the order. Second round, I mean, honestly, up until about 206, 207, even now, it's pretty. What's the word I'm looking for? I just said rote, so I don't want to use that again. But it's been a lot of the same. It's a lot of the same. Like if I get the 207, Trey Harris is gone, Bichelle Tootin's gone, Cam Scadaboo's gone. Like I'm looking at the types of dudes that I'm looking at in every league. Like just I look at my rostership and just look at some of the players like I know I've gotten in that range. Yeah, like Tyler Shuck, Shador Sanders, Rashard Smith. Like all these dudes seem to go in the same range.
Have you noticed? Let's talk about this. I want to ask you about, we talked about this in Heisman voice chat. If you're not in there, check it out for a month. There's a 50% promo code to try it out for the first month. Once you're in there, you're not going to want to leave because these are the kind of conversations we have in there all the time. Have you noticed there are some players that as soon as they were drafted, they are now very difficult to get off of somebody else's roster versus there's other guys where you're like, I could probably sell that player for right around what I paid. You notice that? Like I've noticed there's a few names. I'll throw them out. I mean, Kyle Williams, somebody got him in the 3rd. They want a 2nd now to trade him because He's moved up in the eyes of the community, whether it's warranted or not. He has. Shador.
Yes.
Shador moved up, but it seems like the person that has him, all it took was literally him showing up and looking like a quarterback. And people were like, well, man, this guy's going to start games. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that was not the sentiment after the NFL draft. That was not the sentiment that first 24 to 48 hours. We even talked on the stream, Shane, like a lot of people like, I'm not that interested in Shador. You know what I mean? And now, if he's there at the 211, I'm taking him. Like, why is that information changed so quick? And who are some of those players that you've kind of felt man, if someone offered you what you paid, you're not interested in moving them right now. You need a profit, you know?
Tyler Shuck, Shador Sanders, Kyle Williams, you already mentioned.
And Shuck, I'm gonna throw a wrench in Shuck because obviously something major happened.
Don't throw a wrench at me.
Something major happened between the time he was picked and the time that he's now.
Woody Marks. It's gonna be a fun one. Matthew Golden, because I've gotten him in 2 leagues, and I think
I don't agree though.
You
can't sell. That was one we brought up that was on the other side. Can you sell Matthew Golden for a first?
No, that's my point. Like, I'm not going to sell him unless someone pays more than I paid for him.
Interesting. So you're the one holding out there. If you got him at 201, you won't sell him unless you get a first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a first-round wide receiver.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't know how I only ended up with 2 of him somehow, but no. So in those 2 cases, I'm not moving him. I'm not. Absolutely not. Yeah, Woody Marks. Woody Marks is a guy that everywhere I draft him, you're not getting him off me unless you overpay for him.
Yeah, and I think the tough part about the running backs is there's so many of them that I can't imagine without any news. I can't imagine paying for any of the running backs that went in the 3rd or 4th round, like overpaying for them. I'll pay you a 3rd if he was going in the 3rd. I'll pay you a 3rd if he went in the 4th, but I've seen him go in the 3rd. But until I see something more, I'm not paying for those guys. I think it was definitely some of the receivers, Kyle Williams, Pat Bryant, like whoever got those guys at the early price, they're not interested in moving until they see the training camp hype build, until they see the preseason usage. And, you know, it's probably not good process to go chasing Kyle Williams off of the mini camp buzz. You know what I mean? Like, that's probably a bad idea, but there is some FOMO of people that are like, man, I wasn't on him at the price. I'm willing to pay today's price. Even if it's not the price somebody wants to sell, they're trying to buy for, you know, a future second or something like that. So I just thought it was an interesting discussion as to how quickly some players have moved and others. Like, honestly, Shane, if you took Jarquez Hunter in the 3rd, his price is a 3rd. You know what I mean? Like, there's not really anybody clamoring that I would pay more. It's like, he is what he is. You know, there's probably a window for him to maybe win the backup job, but there's no steam on him. If that makes sense. It's weird how some players have risen and others are just what they are.
Yeah. And it's like people had time to digest and really think about what happened. Like Jarquez Hunter, for example, like, oh yeah, let me draft him over Woody Marks. And we talked about this in the Heisman chat too, but like, why? Like, what about his situation is better than Woody Marks? Like, why would you do that? I can't find an actual reason for it. So it's like people had time to settle in and think about some of the things that happened and went, oh, wait a minute, that's probably not a great idea to draft that.
Is it a position thing? Because I've noticed that now people are now realizing that Mason Taylor's probably going to start. So he's risen over a half a round since the initial rookie draft.
Yeah,
that's all it's been. It's like, wait a second, there's nobody else on the roster. Let's move him up. And now people are taking him I just saw him go 203 in a 2 PPR. Now it's 2 PPR, but still, Jaden Higgins, Trey, don't care about any of those guys. Scattaboo, who cares? I'm taking Mason Taylor, and it's because he's going to start. It's not because he's better than Terrence Ferguson or better than Elijah Arroyo. It's just, well, wow, he has opportunity.
It's like the community got so excited, right? We got so horny over the running backs. We forgot about the other positions. And it's like, we didn't take a look at it like, holy crap. Cause nothing's changed for Mason Taylor from the time he was drafted. We should have known that immediately, right? You looked at the Jets room and you should have gone, dude, there's a legit chance, right? And I'm not saying it'll happen, but there is a legit chance that dude could be the 2nd target in that offense this year as a rookie tight end. What that leads to, I don't know, because, you know, like we said yesterday, it's the quality of the targets. Who knows, right? Although Fields and Kmet, I think, had a good season together. But that's one people should have been on immediately. Like anyone drafting, again, going back to the Heisman chat, it feels redundant, but whatever, you should join it. Hit that link for the promo, get half off the first month. Terrence Ferguson, you talk it through. I'm not sure how he can get to, there's no path of relevancy there unless a bunch of unforeseen things happen where there's path for Mason Taylor. I think that's what happened with some of these players. We get to settle in, we get to look with a clearer view a couple weeks later and then start realizing like, oh, Mason Taylor should have been higher. So it's probably someone like all the early drafts missed him, and he'll move up as his ADP will move up as the summer comes.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the phenomenon of this because it comes up every year. Hillbillies says everyone is just sticking and picking in his drafts. Now, maybe that's drafts that are going on now. Did you notice that this year, though? Were you able to move out of picks? Were you interested in moving out of picks? Like, were you able to get out of thirds for future thirds, seconds for future seconds? Did you even try? Or were you just, I'll just take this guy. I'll just take this guy.
I tried to move into a lot of drafts. I tried to move in every time it got to about 204, 205, and I saw Trey Harris sitting out there. I tried to jump into a draft. Anytime it got to about 210 and I saw Kyle Williams still sitting out there, I tried to jump into a draft. I failed miserably in just about every time I did it. But moving out, I did flip. So I flipped first round picks. I flipped back at the first for future firsts. I did a 110 for a 26 first and some other stuff on both sides. And then I did the 111 or 113, one or the other, 111 or 113 for a 26 first too. So that's what I was able to do. But moving out of the second round, I only did it a few times, not a lot. And then the third round, I literally just took what was ever there. If I could, I probably should have just tried to kick those picks to 2025, 2026. But the problem is when you're drafting this close to the NFL draft, dude, you don't want to move these picks. Everyone's got a great story. You're not thinking about it clearly. You're not. And then they just went through rookie camps where everybody's had the greatest rookie camp that's ever been had, except like Ryan J mentioned today. Nobody heard anything about Trevion Henderson in the New England camp. But it's just this goes kind of to my I wish my drafts were a little more spread out so I could actually use some of the things that I'm learning after the fact. Like it'd be great if I had, I don't know, 8 more drafts to go, and I could take some of the things that I've seen and apply them.
So why is it that it feels so impossible to trade into drafts, but yet it doesn't also feel like it's easy to get out of picks? And honestly, normally I'd say, well, you're probably trying to trade out of picks where you don't want to make the pick, and you're probably trying to trade in when it's obvious that everybody's going to pick a certain player. But it wasn't really that case. Like you just said, I'm trying to trade in every time Trey Harris is available. I wasn't doing that. So clearly we had two different views of where we would be aggressively trying to trade in. For me, it was always, can I move into that 112, 201? Like I clearly saw the tier break. Last player of the tier is probably Matthew Golden because he's a first round receiver. But anytime you got into that range, like I was willing to pay a first plus if it was the right player on the right team. Couldn't do it. Other times where I'm trying to trade into the end of the second for some specific reason. Shador. Couldn't do it. And I'm offering a future second and, something, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's not interested. Yet it also feels like I didn't make a lot of deals where I was getting out of those picks either, like you. And maybe that's because I have a lot more rosters that were just hammer running back. So I was more interested in making third round picks this year. We'll see that when we get to our portfolios. But the picks that I traded out the most were thirds and fourths, not seconds. So maybe it was I just didn't have a lot of seconds. I just thought that was an interesting psychological exercise that we always say this every year. Always trade out of these picks. But I felt like there were some times this year where I was like, you know what? I don't need to draft at the 210. I'll take a future second. And no one made the offer. And I know there was players on the board where I know Shane would have made the offer.
I got to be honest with you, though. By the time I got to 210, I didn't want to make that pick. If I could have moved
but you just said if Kyle Williams or Shador's there, you'd make the pick.
Kyle Williams, like 301 is probably more. But I didn't have the appetite to actually pay up like a second for a 20 for the 210. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to do with here's the 304 and the 310. Can I get in there?
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's different than offering future flexible picks to get into the back half of a round to get a specific player. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. The season is almost over for rookie drafts. Those of you that haven't had them, maybe this discussion helps you. But I think in future years, maybe it just depends on the class. But I think in future years, it's something we say every year, being cognizant of where you're picking. And I think One thing that hurts is we have so many drafts that just happen right away. You know what I mean? Like where you have 15 going on at once, it's really hard to really grind the board in each league and go, okay, do I really need to draft 6 running backs here? Do I need to take an 8th receiver, Pat Bryant or what? Like some spots it makes sense. Others, you end up kind of making the pick because you're like, it's 11 o'clock at night. I'm on the clock. Do I want to make this pick before I go to bed? Sure, I'll just click draft. And then you kick yourself because maybe you could have done something different with the pick. But anyway, we got any comments or questions you want to put up before we get into our exposures?
Oh man, do I want to try to read our dude? He put it in there early. Jesus Christmas. Jeffrey Jacobs has a 13-part question.
He took the time. He was in an hour, 2 hours early. So let's hit it.
All right. Jeffrey Jacobs. He began the rookie draft as the defending champ, and by the end of it, he was not. Okay. Began rookie draft as defending champ. Had the 105, 7, the 401, 6, and 12. Couldn't trade up. He sent Drake May, the 105, the 107, and the 401. So 3 firsts and a 401. And he got back Lamar Jackson, the 27 first, and 305. First of all, do we like that deal?
Vending champ.
He didn't give us the settings. Jeffrey knows better than this.
Yeah, I mean, without knowing the starters, I mean, can we just assume it's a start 10?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the rest of his comments. Yeah, let's just go 12 by 10. Let's assume it's 12 by 10.
I think we've had a similar conversation on a roster review, which I'll plug in a second. Like, I don't feel like I want to have to give that 27 first back. I'm taking the Lamar side if I'm getting the 27 first. I don't know where that is, but getting the 27 first plus a free 305, which I'd prefer to the 401 in this class, just in terms of how I'd construct my roster. I like this deal, don't you? Feels like you got Lamar for Drake May and a mid first.
Yeah. Drake May and the 105 for Lamar. The 107 and the 27 cancel each other out, and then you got the better third round. Like, honestly, Drake May and the 105 is light for what's this guy's name? Lamar Jackson. So that's really good. All right. So then he sent Jordan Reed or Jaden Reed, Brian Robinson.
Definitely Jaden.
Yeah, not Jordan. It'd be a hell of a haul if you were trading Jordan Reed and getting anything back. He traded Jordan Reed and Jaden Reed and Brian Robinson. He got the 108 and got Trev Henderson. That's absurd that Trev Henderson was sitting out there. That's a great deal. Got sent a trade when asked about the availability to pick 207, Luther Burden. So he sent Kyron Williams and got Derrick Henry, the 207, the 501, and the 506. Also very good. All those deals were good. There's no questions in here.
Okay, now we're getting to this is getting to the nitty-gritty hardcore listener stage of the trade here, Shane.
Now he sent Cade Stover 226 force. He got the 311, 12, and 411. So his final rookie haul, Trev Henderson at 108. That's probably the latest I've seen him anywhere. Luther Burden, Brashell Tootin, Jalen Royals, Arondé Gatson, Woody Marks, Brashard Smith, DJ Giddens, Ollie Gordon, and Taj Brooks. Taj Brooks is my dude. Taj Brooks is a dude I keep trying to get in the 4th round. I got him in a few waiver wires. It's a hell of a haul.
In what league are you getting Kyron Williams and Luther Burden and Derrick Henry for Kyron Williams?
None that I'm in.
That's an absurd trade. Counting Cade Stover in a trade is absurd to get 2/3, even though they're 311, 312. Like, you paid nothing to get those thirds.
Yeah.
Every trade you smashed. I mean,
yeah, you won every deal. So
yeah, you won every deal. And so your end of the rookie haul was a bunch of running backs. You added some assets. I mean, like, you basically got Luther Burden for free, and you turned Jaden Reed and Brian Robinson into Travion Henderson. So well done. Keep that manager in mind next year when you see what picks they have and what they're willing to do next year or not do next year in the draft. So
yeah, what do we say? Oh, keep trading with that person. If a person makes a bad deal with you. I guess it's time for some startups, huh, Shane? How are you going to get through the rest of the summer? I don't know. It's probably going to be startups. This is also why you need rookie drafts spread out.
Yeah, I mean, we have some power to schedule some of the rookie drafts that we have, make them purposely schedule them next year for the 3rd week of May. You know what I mean? Just so it's separated from everybody else, and you still have some. I still have, I think, 8 of the 40 that I was in this year that were traditional rookie drafts, I think I have 8 left that are still pending. And I should be able to get some different things going in those. But I want to hit this real quick too. Talk about the importance or lack thereof of a half-point tight end premium in a half PPR league. Debating tight end or running back at 108, 10-team Superflex, current tight ends, Kittle, Pitts, no true needs. Okay. So it's a full PPR, I assume, for tight ends and a half PPR for everything else. I have zero interest in a tight end. None. I wouldn't take Colston Loveland or Tyler Warren in the second in this league. I would probably take them near the back of the second. That's how much of a statement I would make in terms of I just am not interested in them on this roster.
Why?
Do I need to say anything else?
Well, yeah,
it's a 10-team. Mm-hmm. Tight ends just don't matter.
Even though they're doubled, their scoring is doubled. Everyone else.
Unless they're going to carry the market weight of what their like tight end premium plus KTC value is, I'm definitely not adding them to a team where I already have George Kittle and Kyle Pitts in a 10-teamer. Like, let's be real. The odds that Colston Loveland or Tyler Warren are just better than Kyle Pitts is very low. And people just act like they have this immense upside going forward. It's just not a great bet. I might be wrong, but it's just not a great bet. Not with a high pick like that. I'm guessing Harvey, Caleb Johnson is on the board, at least. Judkins, maybe. Based on, he said running back. Like, there's no way I'm taking him over those guys.
Yeah, I'm taking all those running backs over those tight ends. I mean, I have in literally just about every draft, and I play in 1.75 and 2.0 type premiums. And for the most part, even in the 1.75s or 2.0s, I'm going the running backs before I touch the tight end. So, yeah.
Washington Generals 84. Does Jack Bech return value with the Raiders offense? Ray G given over and under 330 carries for Genty. I didn't hear Ray say that, but that's a lot of carries.
I think they said 300 touches. It was on Wake Up this morning. I think they said
330 carries. I don't think people realize how many carries that is in a season, and that's carries. He's going to get another 50 targets. You know?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they said, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they said that touches. That's 19 touches a game. But if it's 330 carries,
that's doable.
330 is 19 carries a game plus the targets. That would put him, you're going to guess, somewhere in the 3 to 5 target range. 24
the past few years,
game, man.
23 to 24 opportunities has led the league, and that includes targets. So if he's at 330 carries, he's going to lead the league in opportunities as a rookie, and I'm not going to bet on that.
All right.
Anyway,
it
was about Jack Bech.
It was touches. Okay, so Jock did say. Jock clarified in
Washington. Okay, that's definitely a different conversation.
So when I did the Shane Says on just real quick on Genty, I was talking about perfect landing spots for the players, and I said the Raiders were the best because of Pete Carroll, because he's going to treat this dude like Marshawn Lynch, who had 22 to 24 opportunities for 4 straight seasons. Like, that's what I expect out of Genty, to be honest with you. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets that work, it's going to be hard for him to fail. What really unlocks him to be an elite running back is, does the offense turn into a just mowing offense like the Eagles or the Ravens or the Lions eventually? And he still gets that workload. We'll see if those two can marry each other up. But what do you think about Jack Bech here? 208. Does he out-target Jacoby Myers as a rookie?
No. People are.
Jacoby Myers is historically like at least a 20% guy for the last 5 years. The thought that he's just going to go away.
He's been over, and I'm just going to say this off the top of my head, but I should know it off of Follow the Volume, one of the perks for our patrons. Pretty sure he's been over 25% the last 2 seasons. I'm just going to look while you talk.
Well, I said 5 years because he was even good on the Patriots before he left. I mean, like he's not a guy that's just going to – the thought that he's just going to go away for Jack Bech, no.
25% last year, 21 the year before. Yeah, so he's typically 22% the year before. Yeah, okay. So he's 24%. So he's somewhere in between the 20 and 25% range every year since 2020. The only year that he wasn't in his career was his rookie year. So, yeah.
Now, does that make him more valuable than Jack Bech? No. Does that make the community sentiment more valuable on him than Jack Bech? No. There's still a reason to draft Jack Bech, but it's not because he's just the wide receiver 1 on the Raiders. He's probably at best the wide receiver 3 if you count Bowers. So probably not. But that doesn't mean don't take him. There's a story to tell with all of these rookies.
I wouldn't be shocked if he has less targets than Genti, to be honest with you. But that doesn't mean, again, that he doesn't hold value. Yeah.
Let's hit a couple of these. I like these questions. Second year of a rebuild. You want points off your team. Would you acquire Jaden Reed for the 301?
Yeah, I have to.
Yes. Just because I have 4 months to do something better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not because I want to hold him for the season and he's a key part to my rebuild. That's just a good deal. And you're like, you know what? I have a plan. I'm going to sell him for later. Sell him for something that gets injured in training camp, right? You never know. You never know when there's a better opportunity and somebody becomes more desperate. So yes, I'm doing that.
Oh,
is there anything else interesting in here? Let me get to our shares.
Yeah, guess who's going to a Black Friday football game, baby? Me, this guy. Eagles versus Bears. Let's go. Anyway,
man, I just saw the Bengals week 13 through 15 stretch. The NFL did them no favors. At Baltimore, at Buffalo, at Baltimore. I believe is no, it's not. No. At Baltimore, at Buffalo versus Baltimore in 3 straight games. I'm like, man,
look, man,
rough stretch.
And I'm just going to mention this on Saturday. Me and Brandon, we've come kind of a thing. We're going to be doing a show on Saturday night, talking about some of the schedule stuff, fantasy wise, and then doing mailbag stuff too. But yeah, we're going to be talking about that mailbag stuff. But here's the thing, man. Before the season, right, when they release the schedule, a lot of times you look at it and you go, oh, they've got no chance in that 5-game stretch. They're going to go 0-5 or 1-4. And then the season happens and things change. You know what I mean? Quickly in the NFL. The team that seems like a powerhouse juggernaut, something happens the following year. I forgot to wear my Eagles championship hat. That would have been a good hat to wear tonight. But anyway.
Let's get to our shares. So what we're going to present is Dynasty Daddy. Shout out to Jeremy at Dynasty Daddy. We're going to go through each of our portfolios. I guess I'll go first.
Yeah.
And we got to switch the overlay. There we go. Oh, Shane, get on the ball. There we go. Okay.
What?
What's wrong?
What? No.
You're moving around. I had to get the right overlay up there with the QR code and everything. But where do you want to start? What do you want to look up? Because this is cool. You go to Dynasty Daddy, you sync all your teams, all your platforms, then you can go to portfolio and it'll kind of tell you where your exposure is on pretty much anything. You can sort by total value, position.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Did you filter it? You know, you can filter.
I haven't done anything. Where do you want me to start?
So hit that little filter.
You can see my highest rostered quarterback is Tyson Bagent. That's exciting.
I love it. Hit that little filter, John. To the right.
Okay.
To the left.
This guy?
Down, right. Yep. Advanced filtering, right? I want you to go to trade value. Hit that drop down. Go to experience. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Go over to the other John over there. Right. And then hit that plus and then minus. No, hit down on. Nope. That's going to give you first year players. Go back. Nope. That's the wrong filter. Nope. That's the right filter. What is that?
We should have practiced this before we get on the stream. Okay. What am I doing here?
Show people? I'll show people.
Yeah, you show everybody. You take control and do yours, and then I'll be able to watch.
All right. So let's hit share. Okay. % share screen. I'm in here.
And let's actually get. I'll get a better overlay up there while we are.
Okay.
Waiting for Shane to share.
You can see, right? Take off my filters. So I've got 28 leagues synced right now. There's one you can pull off leagues if, like, for some reason you've got mock drafts synced or best ball or charity leagues that you don't really care because they're not really portfolios. Anyway, you go down here. Yeah, my number one rostered player, Chris Rodriguez, of course it is. And then Kyler is my number one quarterback, followed by Braylon Allen. But what we care about is rookies. So we hit the little advanced filtering, right? We're going to go to experience. We're going to go 0 and apply filter. Boom. There's my rookies, dog. You go by shares, right? You can go up here and go, you know what? Let me just see by tight ends. What's my breakdown to tight ends? Apparently, I have been, let me go the other way. Heavy on Elijah Arroyo. 3 Tyler Warrens, 2 Mason Taylors, 2 Gunnar Helms, a Loveland, a Fannin, and a Ferguson. And I can tell you right now, this Ferguson pick, I absolutely regret it. I don't know what else was on the board, but I should have drafted something else. That was terrible. I should not have drafted him. I should have just drafted. Quite honestly, I should have drafted Fannin over him, or not drafted any tight end. And I hope to God, I'm going to have to go back and look. And I hope I did not draft him over Mason Taylor, because I will be absolutely sick.
So why 6 Elijah Arroyo? Was it just his price, or I mean, he was similar draft capital to Ferguson and to Mason Taylor. They were 8 picks apart.
So it's actually 7 now. You can't see it on there because I have one draft that's ongoing still, and I have him in there. Yeah, because if he was cheaper than those guys by a good bit. Like Elijah Arroyo was falling to the end of the 2nd, 3rd rounds in tight end premium leagues. People just don't like him. I don't know what they don't like about him, but they don't like him, which is funny because the buzz on him after the Senior Bowl was immense. You remember that?
Yep.
There was talk that the dude might go in the 1st round. He didn't, but I still like Arroyo a lot. I think it's funny and that he ended up in Seattle behind Noah Fant, who was my previous super freak crush many, many years ago. But it was just the price. He was cheaper than all those other guys, right? Where Mason Taylor, where you had to go to get him in most of the drafts that I was in, I was drafting other things. I was drafting running backs. I was drafting Tyler Shuck or Shedeur Sanders, something like that.
It's funny. Would it be fair to say that tight ends, unless they're complete outliers, take a little bit for them to really round into what they're going to become? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yet people judge Mason Taylor, Elijah Arroyo, and Terrence Ferguson based on, do you know how many times I've heard the comp between Terrence Ferguson and Elijah Arroyo is one has Matthew Stafford and one has Sam Darnold, which is like a 1-year arrangement for both at best. And yet that is the tiebreaker between the two, other than 4 picks in the NFL draft. Yet I've seen Ferguson go 8 to 12 picks ahead of Arroyo. And I don't know what that is, but it's just interesting that you would ask most people and they would go, okay, a non-elite tight end that doesn't go in the 1st, do you expect them to start and smash as a rookie? We actually went through realistic projections for guys like Arroyo and Ferguson. And it's like, if they can get to 35, 40 catches as a rookie, that's a great trajectory, because they probably did most of that in the second half of the year, right? And yet the analysis, I like Matt Stafford over Sam Darnold. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just, it's weird where the logic just doesn't make sense when you're evaluating the tight end for many other things other than their landing spot. Then you admit the landing spot matters, but really only for,
it only matters people. It only matters when I like where it matters. It only matters when the landing spot fits my narrative. If the landing spot's good, but it doesn't fit my narrative, I find a reason that the landing spot doesn't matter.
And here's why I would not argue Ferguson over Arroyo. Matt Stafford and the Rams are a better spot for players, I would say, right now than the Seahawks. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can probably fool somebody into thinking Terrence Ferguson is the next George Kittle if he's good quicker than Elijah Arroyo. But that doesn't mean that he's a better investment when you're evaluating a quarterback that's only going to probably be there for 1 year. It is, you're right. It comes down to people tell themselves the story they want to tell on positive movers or negative movers. So go to running backs. I want to see go to quarterbacks. I think we can knock that out quick because it's going to be a lot of Tyler Shuck, which is going to be boring.
Jackson Dart.
Okay.
Jackson Dart. So, look, I want a couple. Cam Ward. So, just a couple things. Jackson Dart 4. He's still at 4. Yeah, okay. And then Tyler Shuck and Shedeur Sanders have actually surpassed him because I'm up to 5 now of each of those with the ongoing drafts that I have. The 2 ongoing drafts.
You're similar to me when we get to mine. I only got Cam Ward in 1 league, and it's just because the way we're playing quarterback right now, we're just probably passing and taking running backs instead, or taking Travis Hunter or Tet McMillan, or you know what I mean? Like just going in a different direction, pretty much.
Yeah, it never made sense where he was. You know what I mean? And then there were a couple times where he was dropping in the draft, and I didn't have an early pick. and I was or I had a, like a 110 or something, and I was trying everything I could to move up for him, and I just couldn't get it done. There's a couple times that I wanted him. So I was able to pull off a trade. I think it was me and Janikowski. I could be wrong. Pulled off a trade, and I got my second share of Cam Ward. So I wish I did have a little more Cam Ward. I'm not going to lie to you. I really do. And I don't know why I don't have more Milrow. That feels like a mistake because, as you'll see, a lot of the running backs I have. Well, should we just go wide receiver?
Go to receivers. Running back we'll save for last because receivers we'll be able to knock those out real quick. I mean, besides Jalen Lane, it's not a heavy investment here.
On anyone.
Yeah, Tet, Golden, Hunter. Yeah, your 2 shares or less on pretty much everybody. Any of the guys that were going in the first 2.5 rounds.
Yeah,
very unexciting. I get you.
It's just that's what was there, right? And Jalen Lane, I think I might have drafted him in one league. Like most of those shares are, at least 7 of them, if I remember correctly, are just off the waivers.
Yeah, like Shane, do you think Jalen Lane is good? Apparently, but no. You'll see when you get to mine. I have a similar take on a different player. So go to running backs. This is what I want to see.
All right. So this is the creme de la creme, right? This is where Jackson, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, baby. He doesn't count. So let's get to the real running backs. LaQuint Allen. I drafted a lot of LaQuint Allen, and that's been lately. Oh, no. LaQuint Allen, you know where I got most of him? Waiver wire. But the big ones, obviously, it's Judkins, right? So I went ape shit on Judkins early.
Shane loved this high-end running back class. Look at those shares. Judkins, Hampton, Caleb, Genty, Harvey.
Add one more Hampton to that and add one more Harvey to that because those are both 2 that I got going on. And then we have a draft starting tomorrow where I have the 101. So I'll have another Genty unless I can find someone to take the 101 off my hands. And then I can go get Cam Ward in that league.
Where's all your Travion Henderson, Shane? Isn't that the guy that's evaded you?
Let's see. There's where is he? Trev. There's 2.
Down there, 1 right there.
Oh, he's another one I have in another league. So yeah, 2. I ended up with 2 altogether. Just again,
not a lot of Tootin. What were you taking in the range where Tootin was going, like mid-second? What were you taking there?
I'm just trying to look for the running back.
You probably got rid of those picks so you could get more Judkins and Harvey.
I honestly, he was not on the board a lot for the mid-second when I was there. He seemed to be a player that I always missed out on. Like he always seemed to be a player like I could have overdrafted him at 201 or 202. Probably should have just overdrafted him a little bit at 203, 202, whatever. It doesn't matter in the second, just to get some exposure to him. But I didn't do it. And I ended up with very, very little of it. Got a lot of Taj Brooks. Yeah. Dude, I'm happy with the running back shares, right? I hit all of the ones, the real big ones, except for Travion Henderson, which, that's disappointing to only have 2 of them. But to have at least 4 of Genty, Caleb Johnson, Quinchon, Harvey, and Omarion Hampton, and 5 in multiple cases there, 5 and above for Hampton, Harvey, and Quinchon. I'm pretty happy with that haul. Look, I love these running backs, man.
So, biggest regret of draft season? Just looking at your shares. I know you don't have many drafts left. What's the biggest regret where you're looking at this going, man, I wish I would have done something a little different?
I wish I would have gotten more Travion Henderson and more Travis Hunter. It's just that simple. I wish I would have. They're in a couple of the leagues.
I mean, Hunter was tough to get, though. You had to have a top 3 pick.
And that's the thing, right? So 103, I didn't have a lot of 103s. But looking back, see, here's the problem.
You had 6 Hamptons in there. So you definitely made that decision quite a bit.
Well, and that's the thing, right? So I didn't want to draft Hunter just to draft him because I wanted him. You know what I mean? Like Hampton's the right choice at 102, unless you need a quarterback. And then, in those one case, I took Cam Ward. Every other time at 102, though, I'm pretty sure I just went ahead and took Hampton, just nailed it down because that's just the right one. And it sucks that I didn't get any Hunter, but I don't want to draft just so I can say I have 6 of this guy or 7 of that guy. You know what I mean? Like I was not looking at my shares to make a decision. I was looking at which player made the most sense for me at that pick.
Cameron says, how do you filter this for rookies? And you
me
just do the filter and you put in 0.
Yes,
and it'll work.
Experience
put in 0. And just filter rookies, put in 0 and hit apply, and you are good. I want to get this question real quick, and then I'll do mine. Patty. I wish we could change here. Let's get back to this. This looks better. Patty's on the clock. 14 teams start 9. Dart, Caleb, Harvey are on the board. Quarterbacks are Lamar and Jaden Daniels. Is there even a question here? You're passing on the quarterback, even though it's a 14-teamer?
Yeah, because how many times have we done? Cam Ward fell to me at like 105.
Well, Cam's gone.
Oh, okay, sorry. Oh yeah, I'm not taking Dart. Absolutely not.
Dart, Caleb, Harvey. Those are the quarterbacks. Those are the running backs. Chuba, Algier. I mean, it's basically Henry, Chuba, nothing. Backups.
No. I'm taking Dart if I need a quarterback here. I'm fine with taking Dart here, but when let's see who's on the board. I'm sorry, Harvey's available. Caleb's available.
Harvey, Dart, Caleb. Yep.
Yeah, I'm taking one of those two. If there's and I've gone back and forth between Harvey and Caleb. That is one that I evened out a little bit, to be honest with you. Is it because I was a little heavy on Caleb, and then I was like, I need to get some Harvey in my life. Let me grab some of him.
Yeah, this is going to be something that I'm going to focus on a lot over the summer with some new shows and stuff with team construction, roster construction, etc. Like, because this is clearly the question here is, do I take the quarterback, basically hoard the quarterback in a 14-teamer where there's scarcity? But that probably depends on a lot of factors, what you actually do with that, because you can argue that what's your plan if you take Dart there? Hold? Wait?
What can I get for my other card? JD5.
Lamar and Jaden.
I would investigate just to see. But I'm not comfortable because Dart's not starting week 1. I mean, he's not supposed to. I'm sure he will be starting at some point. I think the Giants' schedule makes it look like they'll be 1-4 going into week 6 or something like that. So maybe then.
Yeah. I'm Josh says if somebody wants, if quarterback, a good test to the quarterback market is if somebody's willing to trade in. And I get it. Dart could be named the starter in week 3 and then his value takes a bump. But then what do you do that? Like, just have a plan if you do that. Like, we get obsessed kind of with like hoarding because of format. But then when the windows come that you can actually realize the purpose you hoarded for, then people don't actually execute on the reason they hoarded. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And here's the thing, man. I've done 27, 28 drafts or whatever it is, 28. At no point did I ever see anyone trade into like the 108 range to draft Dart. I think I did it once. I think I might have done it once, but I didn't see anyone else do it.
It's also an investment. It's an investment, just like Penix. Drew says in the chat, it's like the Penix bet. Yep, it's the same thing. It's an investment. It's a good way to kick that pick to something that has pretty stable value, and the window probably for it to mature is going to happen sooner rather than later. It's a totally different bet than just drafting RJ Harvey and expecting him to produce. So I can see both sides. I can also see where Dart sits for a month. Your team starts 1-3, and you're like, can I trade Jackson Dart for something that's producing like the rookie RJ Harvey for the first month? And then you're regretting it. Like you could see both sides of that argument. So, all right, we'll rip through these. I don't want to go through everyone because you just went through. I think we have some similar trends. Where you want to start? We'll probably start with quarterbacks. It's the least sexy in my portfolio. 3 Shador out of, I have 40 leagues in here, but it's only out of, I think 32 have drafted. So it's 3 Shador. I mean, Milrow, 1 Cam Ward, 1 Dart. That's it. So nothing exciting there. Tight ends is
you got some Curtis Rourke.
I did pick up some Curtis Rourke. Well, I mean, I'm an any quarterback on a 2 deep. So the idea of being able to pick up some Kyle McCord and Riley Leonard and Curtis Rourke, I mean, that excites me probably more than most. Tight ends. I ended up being the most on Harold Fannin, Shane. 5 Harold Fannins, 3 Terrence Fergusons and Arroyos.
Because he was in the 3rd round, right? You get Fannin in the 3rd round.
Yep. And I try to align guys like him in the right format too, like a 2 tight end or a 2 PPR. So it's like I have a lot of those leagues, and if the right situation comes up, I will take him a little higher because of that. And he was the tight end 6, which feels like a decent bet in those, even if you're getting him late 2nd, early 3rd. So As you know, very little very little Warren, Love Leonard, Taylor. I have practiced what I preach. Do not draft the early tight ends. So receivers, it's pretty much as underwhelming as tight ends, although
Restrepo. Oh, you got 2 Travis Hunters.
Well, yeah, and if you notice, and he's not on here, but Jimmy Horn is my highest rostered receiver, and then Restrepo and Ty Felton. So these are pure, and people probably go, Scott, why do you got Ty Felton and Xavier Restrepo and Jimmy Horn? These are pure, just like the profile. I have a plan to dump. If Xavier Restrepo's not starting in the preseason, I'm cutting him. You know what I mean? Like, it's that quick of a turnaround. Like, he needs to be a guy that plays right away. And as a UDFA, that's not a good bet. But if it happens, can't you already tell yourself the story on Jimmy Horn?
Yeah. Oh,
right. Because of his lineage, because of Restrepo's connection with Cam Ward. Like, I can already tell myself those stories, but that doesn't mean I hold through their rookie year. If it ain't happening by September or end of August, it's over.
No, I mean, best case scenario, some of these guys get cut, to be quite honest with you. And then I can go, all right, see you. See you, Jimmy Horn. Yeah. See you, Nick Nash.
Here's the thing with receivers, Shane. Receivers oftentimes don't get cut. Running backs, like, you'll know if LaQuint Allen is worth anything because he makes the team. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times the receivers don't.
I mean, if they can play special teams, right? So like Arian Smith, Johnny Wilson for the Eagles just last year, for example, late round picks. Those are the guys that stuck around. But if you can't play special teams and you suck as a receiver, then you're gone.
Well, what do you do with a round 5 receiver that doesn't get cut and is the wide receiver 4?
Yeah, cut him.
Because you used a draft pick on him. You know, you drafted a player or you picked him up.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they are, though. They just end up being like Keandre Lambert-Smith.
He's
5th receiver. He'll probably make the Chargers, but what if he is the 5th receiver on the Chargers? Why did you pick him up? What are you looking for? Because you got to do something that you do not want to hold a guy like that through the first season.
Yeah. I honestly, he's probably one of the first cuts. As soon as I need a running back to add off the waivers, he's a cut. If there's
the cut criteria has to be he didn't beat out Trey Harris. You know what I mean? Which is a long shot for it to happen anyway.
Yeah.
So I just want to put that out there that I'm only rostering these guys because I've picked them as the ones I can tell a story on. I mean, I have some balance. 3 Igbukas, 2 Hunters, 2 Goldens, 2 Higgins, 2 Williams, 2 Bryants, a Harris, a bet. I mean, I have literally one of everybody, but not a Ted McMillan, interestingly. No Ted McMillan for me. None.
What did I have?
That is one of the few. Yeah, you had 2, yep.
I wish I had more. I wish I had more than Hunter, but anyway.
Running backs. I definitely went running back heavy.
Yeah.
Trevor Etienne, Ollie Gordon, Rashard Smith, RJ Harvey. I bought into the DD juice on RJ Harvey. Hunter, Brooks. I mean, as you can see, I've made a lot of 3rd and 4th round picks this year.
Yeah. Yep.
So no real regrets. I only have 1 Judkins, I think. Okay, 2 Judkins. I know that was one that we were asking each other like a week ago. You were so high on Judkins in terms of your exposure, and I had very little. And it was just,
I will say this,
the draw probably.
Yeah, in running gun, if you'd like to make a deal, it would make sense for me to move off of Judkins. But anyway.
I traded everything I have for Jamar Chase.
I don't want to talk about
it. Anyway, we can jump back to our normal layout and close out the show with that. But that was fun. Like, that's just a glimpse of our portfolios. I'm sure there are places where people are like, you guys are crazy. You guys were wrong. You made some terrible bets. I didn't answer my regret. I think my regret is probably not getting a little earlier on the Shador and Milrow bets. Like, those are they're easy bets to just tell yourself that people are getting more excited every time you see a clip or read a blurb. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Even if they never manifest into a full-time starter or even a window of being able to start. And they're not the same bet. Milrow obviously has more upside, but like, those were just obvious ones to see coming. They were big names before the draft. They're big names now. They've survived the fact that their draft capital wasn't great. Their landing spots were ambiguous. People don't care. They're still in on those 2.
what's funny is, right, before the NFL draft, just based off of the picks I had, right? Because you could see that I had running backs in that 107 to 110 range, right? But that's why I have a lot of Judkins, Harvey, Caleb, because those are the running backs in that range. I thought I would be pretty heavy on Shador Sanders, like just going into those drafts. In a couple leagues where I needed quarterbacks, I was like 108, 109, 110. You know what I mean? I'm willing to do that for Shador. I assumed again he was going to be first round quarterback. He would be the second one. I still ended up relatively heavy on Shador. Just how I got there wasn't how I expected because I got him in the second and third rounds, which allowed me to get more of the running backs because obviously I wasn't drafting him in those spots at the 1-7 through 110 because I didn't need to because he was a fifth round draft pick. That's funny how you get there, right?
Yeah, and the other thing is this year, 2 leagues I did this specifically where I only had 3 round rookie drafts, and it was a 2 PPR for tight end in both. And guess what fell to waivers in all of them? 5 or 6 of those running backs, just because there's not enough of them to draft in the third, and people are taking Fannin, they're taking 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the second. So just numbers wise, I was able to accumulate way more fab than the league. Everyone got 100 for the season. And I ended up trading for an extra 200 fab. And I was able to blow, 50, 60 fab on the remaining running backs. I got Brashard Smith, Jarquez Hunter, Ollie Gordon, DJ Giddens, and Taj Brooks in one league for free. Or Woody Marks in one league for free. Like 5, like third. And again, I don't expect any of those guys to smash, but I bet you one of them ends up being a guy where you're like, damn, I could start that guy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm getting a Tyrone Tracy out of that group, and I got him for fab dollars. And what I was trading for fab dollars, even pre-draft, was like, here, Shane, I'll give you in a 12 by 11, 28-man roster, 30-man roster, I'll give you Romeo Dobbs for 15 fab. And people are like, oh, that's Romeo Dobbs for free. You know what I mean? But it's really like, he has no use on my roster. So I know down the line I'm going to be able to exploit the third round rookie draft because there's only 3 and not a 4th or a 5th. So, all right. What do you want to talk about? We got 7 minutes left. You want to take a couple questions, trades? Let's do this. Let's talk about what we're going to plan on doing for the summer. Well, go ahead.
No, I was going to say we have a first timer. Hi, guys. Okay. Just did my first Dynasty draft. Can you tell me how my team is? Superflex.
Welcome to the cult, my friend.
Premium QB. All right. So first thing first, JTube, if you're still in here, we need the actual league, like how many starters, how many teams. Thank you for the Superflex tight end premium, but tell us what the premium is, etc. But so far, let's see. You've got Nix, Williams. Who do you think Williams is?
Caleb,
good. Okay, Lance, not Trey Lance, probably Milton. Okay, running back, both Cardinals and both Commanders running backs. Just locked up those rooms. Tight ends, he's got Bowers and Mayer. And wide receivers, he's got Puka, Worthy, Adunze, Shakir, Jennings, and Trey Harris. Really like that wide receiver room a lot. I like Nix and Williams. Yeah, it's crazy what 9 months does to you or whatever, or a year. Last year, I was telling Bo Nix that he was a trash bag. But anyway, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, that's a good quarterback room. I'm okay with James Conner and Brian Robinson, but you got to give us a little more context too, though, dude. Like, what did you come out with? Did you come out with any extra draft capital for next year? And give us the details on the actual league settings. But I like that wide receiver room in a vacuum. I like the quarterback room in a vacuum. And obviously, it's Brock Bowers. How could you not like that? Only thing is you don't have to handcuff everything. You handcuffed your tight end and both your running backs. There's a lot of debates about this. Handcuffing is a waste of a roster space to me. But anyway, thoughts, Scott?
I'm gonna go easy. It's his first league.
But
we don't have the specific. No, okay. You were not mean at all. I could go into let's talk about your other roster construction. Let's talk, all these things, but it's a fair build for the first time. I'm definitely not handcuffing my tight end when it's Brock Bowers. You know what I mean? Like you're basically eating yourself with that. So I'm not interested in doing that. Running backs. Okay. I can see it. If you roster enough running backs, you're going to run into somewhere you have multiples. Like I have plenty of Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis. I have plenty of Blake Corum and Jarquez Hunter. I understand one of them is probably a loser and a cut at some point, but Not going to rip them too hard, but just, yeah, JTube, check it out every week when we're on the stream. We usually ask number of teams, number of starters, number of roster spots, any scoring quirks, like any of those things are helpful to really kind of get into the full 360 view of the team and how you're building it and stuff like that. But congrats on finding Dynasty. This is going to be a fun summer.
Yes.
Shane, what are you planning to do on Shane Says or with your Saturday nights with Brandon? Is there anything structured, or I'm not saying you're going to be every Saturday night, but you said you and Brandon are an item now. So you can't say that and then stiff him every week.
I mean, Brandon, trying to draw Brandon out. But in doing so, it appears that I snagged my foot into the bear trap.
Saturdays with Shane. Oh yeah, Brandon's there too.
But no, yeah. So look, this will be our third Saturday in a row. That wasn't planned, but like this week we're doing a mailbag and we're doing some schedule releases. I think Saturdays it's just going to be a way more relaxed vibe.
That Saturdays, speaks to Shane's social life. Hey Shane, are you available Saturdays? Yep, yes. Every weekend.
Every Saturday you need, I am free. No, man, we're just gonna. I keep having these thoughts, and I want Brandon to decide what he wants. But I just keep having these thoughts, like that's a good night to get weird with it, right? Like we did the what if mock last week, right? Maybe not weird, but more of thought. What's the word I'm looking? Thought exercises, right? That maybe stuff like that. Shane Says, I don't know. I think at some point I got to start diving back into the data from last year and then start making some calls and getting some clickbait out there. You know what I mean? So I'm going to get some clickbaity stuff out there. Top 3 this. Why your wide receivers suck. This is the worst wide receiver ever. Don't buy him. Stuff like that. Fun stuff. I got to get back to having fun on Shane Says. I got a little too serious, so I'm going to try to get more fun.
Yeah, we'll get you there. I think Shane Says is cool because it really kind of gets into the stuff you're using to form your process, Yeah. And people may go, I mean, the best is when people go, Shane, like, this is great data, but I can't follow it because all you're doing is just saying it out loud. There's no graphics or anything, but that's probably how, like, your mind is processing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's very raw and very real. So I'm looking forward to what you do in the summer. We may have a couple new shows coming. Destination Show will come back. That is something that Ray and I have committed to doing more regularly once we get through with our summer vacations or spring vacations and the post-draft stuff. Like, that'll be something that we do every other week. We're going to be launching a new show that I'm not going to give the name of, but it's going to be something that I think everybody is. There was a comment earlier. I'm not going to put it on the screen, but if it was a curious thought as to trades, I'll just leave that there. But there may be something coming soon with Shane and I in trades. And then I'm going to be doing a roster construction thing where I go through and just hang out. It's going to be more of like a hangout session. We're going to go through my teams. I'm going to go through how I make my rosters really efficient. Some of the stuff that I'm doing, more advanced strategies using the war tool that's being revamped. So if you're into that, like that's going to be something that's probably very niche, but it gets back to the roots of really like that's the stuff I talk about when I'm in voice chat. You know what I mean? Like there's 20 people in Heisman voice chat and I'm the one that's just rambling about really kind of advanced thoughts from a dynasty perspective and abstract views of entire portfolios of teams and making bets one way or the other. So I want to do a show like that. I'm still working through it, but that's going to be the plan for the summer. And yeah, this is going to be the last rookie draft focused episode. I think we're going to focus more on team building, startups, preparing teams for the season. Maybe we'll do some deep dives on one thing I want to look at, Shane, is interesting if we could have like average attrition rates throughout a season and apply those to how we build our teams. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like really doing deep dives into the number, because one thing we were talking about earlier, and I don't want to go off in this tangent because I could do a 20-minute episode on this, but take the backup running back, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
We would say just roster every backup running back because they might have a chance. But a lot of times you're doing that because a lot of backup running backs, especially like younger guys, like the rookies this year, they don't just offer the handcuff potential. They also offer the two-way go potential. I'll give Jordan McNamara credit for that term. The idea that they could be the next Chase Brown or the next Tyrone Tracy, you know what I mean? Where they're better than just a handcuff. They're actually seen as a short-term future starter or somebody that people are really excited for. But if you're just talking like handcuffs, Shane, what is the most likely time those are actually usable? What are the most likely time you can trade those guys? Have you noticed it's hard to trade handcuffs in week 2 because there's just not as big of a need? You know what I mean?
Hopefully not. God, it's a terrible season if there is.
But has anybody gone in here and been like, oh, I really want to trade this backup quarterback that's starting in week 2? And you look at all the teams and it's like, nobody really has enough attrition to be desperate enough to do it. Then when you get to the end of the year, I'm sure you've been in this thing where you're trying to dump somebody in week 15, but the only teams that are buying are the 3 stacked ass contenders that aren't interested in the guy you're trying to sell because he's not an upgrade. So there's usually a sweet spot for that. And like, where does that exist and how can we roster construct around that? So that's just something I want to dive into a little bit, but that's it. Appreciate the crowd tonight. You got any final sign-off words? Any closing thoughts on rookie season 2025?
Spock hit us with a super chat.
Good call.
Appreciate you, Spock, 498. The first 497 Spocks are ass. You're not. On the clock, Genty, Ward, Hampton, Hunter are gone. Tet or RB? Settings, guys. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. But we need settings because, like, this changes. Is it a PPC? Because if it's PPC, I'm probably going running back.
If you don't put the settings, I would guess it is vanilla and on the shallower end. I don't know anything else, but let's say it's a 10 by 10 PPR only.
Yeah, here's the other thing.
The chat's saying there was another message that you missed.
No, there wasn't. You guys are lying.
Yes, the next message literally went
there. It is. There's Spock's message exactly. Like I said, 12 team super flex PPR 0.75 tight end premium. Start 10. 6-point passing touchdown, 3 wide, 2 flex. He's got Lamar, Kyler, Bijan, CMC, AK. Oh my. ARSB, Puka, AJ Brown, Tyreek, DJ Moore, Rice, and good Lord, bro. Yeah, you're stacked at wide receiver, low activity league. Flipping Tet will be harder than usual. That said, you named 1, 2, 3.
Dude, the last sentence, I think.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to move them.
I think he's looking for a different answer than what he knows he should do, which is not take Tet and it's take a running back. But like, our running backs are okay, but I could also see a world where you're starving for a running back at some point. So
I mean, CMC, he only named two running backs, right? Or 3 actually, but like, okay, they're very good. He could go 9 deep at wide receiver. Tet would just, you know what I mean? Like, you could draft Tet and then be like, all right, now I need to sell AJ Brown. But now I'm looking to sell AJ Brown, and
we're going 60 receiver, not 9. But
same difference. It's math. If you turn it upside down, it's 9.
Here's the thing with this running back room. If you had those 3, but then you also had a bunch of backups that potentially could help, I would feel less needy to take a running back, right?
Yeah.
But is your roster construction on point? If it is, you can go best player available. But I do think the fact that you can't flip Tet, is it you can't flip Tet because he's a rookie, or you can't flip him because it's a low activity league? If it's truly a low activity league and you said, okay, I'm going to draft Tet and try to sell AJ Brown and no one will buy him either, then I think you go with the running back, especially with what's on the board. It's Henderson, right?
Yeah. That's where I'm going. And I see a comment in there about tight ends. I'm not taking Loveland or Warren over Hendo. I'm not doing that.
Dude, we have Andrews and Ingram.
Yeah.
If I had nothing, I'd be willing to take the shot, but you're basically just drafting a tight end you're drafting a tight end as the asset. It's not what I'd want to do. So yeah, I'd go Henderson. But you know your league, man. You say it's low activity until you put Amon-Ra St. Brown on the block. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd never know. So that's it. Final thoughts, 2025 rookie season, almost in the books. Any final closing words for the group? It's been a fun summer.
If you're a commissioner, spread out your rookie drafts. It'd be more fun for me. I really wish I was drafting right now with the knowledge that I have, but Now I'm going to have to join startups if I want to, and I'm trying not to do that. So that's all. Appreciate it.
Send Shane all your startups where they've not had the rookie draft yet.
Yeah. I'm a mark. I expect to see some DMs in the Discord.
Well, good stuff. If you are interested in roster reviews, I didn't plug that, but check them out on the site, ddfantasyfootball.com. We have a promo code for roster reviews through May 21st. DDRR15. It's in the description, but just throwing it out there if you're interested. We're usually doing 1 or 2 a day. So if you're interested in one of those, it's a great deal till May 21st. So you'll have another week to take advantage of that. And right now we're looking at like maybe a couple day turnaround time. If you do the recorded ones, the live ones have to be scheduled, but yeah, check them out. There's 2 options on there. There's a little promo as to what you get and kind of what it looks like. And if you have any questions, hit either Shane or I up. And until next week, we're out. Thanks, everybody.
Peace out.